Hey, it's the Docs Who Lift podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Spencer Nadolsky. I got my co-host, Dr. Karl Nadolsky
Hi.
Jr. Today, we're going to be talking about a few things, and really, it's all about the influencers, not only just TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, which is now known as X, and how sometimes they're getting paid for talking about drugs and other things, and the FDA and FTC is looking into this. There was just an article this week on Stat that I saw, and I just sent it to my brother to read over, that we can kind of discuss. And what I want to start off, though, is talking about how, and we've talked about this in the podcast before, how my brother and I started a supplement company. You hear us talk and grab about supplements all the time because there's so much snake oil out there. We started a supplement company back in 2008. I was a med student.
I was just about to graduate.
You're a fourth-year med student. I was a first-year med student. And the reason was, and actually the whole reason for it was because we love protein powder, meal replacement type of stuff. And so we're like, I don't know, everybody always asks us, because we're, big, strong wrestlers and athletes, and people always wanted to know of protein powder, but we also wanted to help people lose weight. And
we even developed one, more of a post-workout version.
That was before. That was like
college,
pre.
Yeah. So we were always interested in. That was more for like the athletes at Michigan State and North Carolina and stuff. So we had some interest in developing products for people based on our academic and athletic interests that people wanted. They wanted our opinions on this.
I loved supplements and protein specifically because for me it's very hard to eat enough. So I love protein supplements. Like I can't eat a whole thing of turkey. I need to get something.
Turkey for you. Turkey for me.
I need the easily digestible stuff. So I love protein powder. So we're like, let's come out with a company. We came up with the name Leaner Living. Horrible name because everybody kept calling people. We understood what leaner is, but everybody called it learner living. People on the outside colloquially leaner. They didn't understand it.
We thought it was good.
We thought it was good. It was terrible. I can go over the history of whatever. It's actually not funny to us, but it's an interesting story of what happened at the end of that debacle, which I think that company went defunct in 2018 or 2017?
Several years ago.
2018,
not the
2019.
point.
No, but
we were very excited to formulate our own meal replacement protein powder because we knew the science and we had the experience. And we understood that people needed something that tasted good, was convenient, and we felt like we could develop a product that was up to our standards that we would feel comfortable recommending rather than someone else's stuff.
Yeah, that was
and
the
maybe
gist.
Try to make some money from it.
That was the gist. So I understand business. I know how to make money online and do all these things now compared to back then.
Don't,
no,
apparently.
You sure as hell don't. But I understand business now a little bit better, and marketing and sales and all that different stuff. So, but what's interesting back then is that we just formulated it. We used our student loan money to do this, which was
mistake number one.
Pretty. We were pretty dumb, but we were naive. Paid a lot of money for label designing. It was a lot of money, and these are the type of things that nobody actually cared about. But we were like, we need to have a cool label because like everybody else is doing this cool stuff. So we paid a lot of money to make cool labels. We spent a long time formulating. I even went out to the place, this Protein Research. I still love them to this day. I don't do business with them. They were very cool. I went out to San Francisco, I believe it was, area, and went through the manufacturing plant, their CGMP, good practice, good manufacturing process, certified, all these different things. Very good place. We went through multiple iterations with their chemist person to make sure that the protein powder tastes good. The mouthfeel of it. It had a blend of
texture.
It had a blend of milk, whey, protein, and a few other things.
It had good fiber from vegetable fiber, oat fiber, and flax, as I recall.
Yeah, it had a few fiber blends in there because we want multiple types of fibers in there. And a multivitamin mineral formula that was like not too much to where it was like, oh God, you're going to have toxic levels of iron or something in there. But it was like what you would expect from a good whole food type of meal. So it was, and you know what? We are friends and family and people. We didn't have a huge following back then. People loved it. People still message me today going, where do you get that learner live? Where can I get some
It
of
was
that?
good.
We even
Yeah.
had the next idea was that we came up, and again, we were ahead of our times, and now people are coming out with this. We came out with something called the lean latte. We took the same formula and we added real coffee. It had the same amount of caffeine and coffee as a true cup of coffee. And people loved it for their breakfast. It was our idea that you'd have coffee with your protein powder. I know my brother's sitting there going like, yeah, and here we are sucking wind because everybody else is making the millions of dollars. But it was actually really cool. The whole point of this is to say we had this, it was very legitimate and we believed in it. We also came out with one supplement. It was called glycosolv. And actually, the name is pretty cool. Glycosolv. It was a berberine base product. We were the first people in the United States. I don't think I'm lying about this. I'm pretty sure we were the first people in the United States to put 500 what was used in the doses in the studies
and
in
that's
2000.
That's an important note, by the way, that leads to this, because we didn't just make this up.
No, we didn't make this up. We in medical school, it literally came out in that same year, 2007 and 2008, when we started medical school, that berberine, specifically pure berberine used over in China, had metformin or better like results for blood sugar control,
blood sugars and lipids,
and lipid
these
control.
Were not in BS medical journals. Literally,
it was like the Journal of Endocrinology,
the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, the one that is the most highly cited endocrine journal. That is my specialty, that everyone respects highly, and then other studies followed, basically supporting the safety and benefits. The key here is, it's still a supplement. So it's not big pharma. It didn't have tons of money behind it. These were not the biggest, robust studies to ultimately, show, kidney outcome benefits, heart outcome benefits, like the big drugs do. And we acknowledge that limitation, but this was really interesting to us as scientists and health nuts, and knowing whether it's good, right or not, that there's a lot of people out there who don't tolerate all these meds and want the alternative.
They want the natural stuff.
Even though, there are issues with that, obviously.
So we weren't selling snake oil. We were selling something that literally had the best studies that are available, at least short term. They don't have long term cardiovascular outcomes. So we're like, all right, well, nobody else is doing this, and it looks to be pretty safe. Let's see if we can get this imported in from India or China, wherever they're making it, to our good manufacturing practice place. And they did their analysis and like, yep, this is 98 or 97, whatever the highest. It was like the highest grade berberine you can get. It was berberine hydrochloride. And what's funny is we put
basically
that in.
Like medicine. So don't get me wrong. We consider any supplement that does anything, technically it is medicine. And this was kind of an alternative medicine. However, with data behind it, it becomes an evidence-based consideration in real practice. That's the key, and where I'll stand.
Yeah, no, I know. So, but it doesn't matter. Anybody's listening is like, okay, so get to the point. So, to get to the point, though. Now, here's the cool thing. We didn't know we got a shipping company. This stuff, the protein was expensive to buy. So, for anybody wanting to, I want to get into it. I've done this a few times now. Protein's expensive to buy. It's expensive to store because it takes up a lot of space. It's expensive to ship because it's heavy. Pills, on the other hand, they're smaller. They don't the profit margins are much higher for pills. Having said that, we actually priced our pills. We want, because here's what happened. We priced it at like whatever, $30 at first. We ended up lowering it to $20 because what happened, and this is because we're ethical doctor people, I can't call them patients, but customers started calling and going like, I need my shipment now. This is the only thing that's keeping my blood sugar at bay. I've gotten off my insulin. Like I would like things, and I'm telling other and I'm a med student at this time, telling other attending doctors. And you can imagine what other doctors are saying. Like, you're doing some quackery kind of stuff because like that doesn't happen with supplements. This is the thing with berberine hydrochloride. Again, we're not endorsing it. We don't make money from it anymore or anything like that. Like, this stuff is potent and
it has medicinal properties for sure.
We were the people on, when you Googled berberine, we'd come up. The first page that would come up was this Ray Sahalan guy who just talked about berberine. He didn't sell it. But the next in line was us, because we also own berberine.net. And it's a crazy story. We would sell, we couldn't keep the stuff in stock. And what eventually happened is there were people buying our stuff, and they started they just bought ours, relabeled it, and then tried to like it's a cutthroat world out there. Basically what was happening is that like people would take our bottles, take off the label, and then put on their own and mark it up. Eventually
and then the quacks really did get involved.
Then they all get it.
And then they over marketed. And this goes back to the having scruples thing. So as physicians and evidence-based physicians, and we don't like BS supplements, but we were providing a supplement that had evidence. We were very open about what the studies showed, what they lacked, what the limitations were, and we couldn't go beyond that, and we will never go beyond that. But the quacks did. They said this was the miracle, and it's still happening now, which blows my mind when they say berberine is the newest Ozempic and
nature's Ozempic.
Like, that's not even close to true.
That's not even close. It does help with blood sugars, helps with lipids. It's not going to help you lose much weight.
We don't know maybe if it has the benefits beyond that, and that's what
we don't really know. So what happened is the big companies jump in. And they can make the cost of these so much lower than what we could do it for. I think we were getting the bottles at somewhere around $10 a bottle of cost. And then eventually big companies got in and they were selling it, $10, $15. It's like, how are we supposed to make any money off this? And by the way, we didn't make much profit off it. The money kept going back into the company to buy more of the stock. It was like we never actually were able to make any money. We didn't make any money. Like it like even though we couldn't keep it in the stock, and it just shows that we were trying to be ethical because we didn't want to make it too expensive because people really needed this. This is just why doctors shouldn't be selling supplements in the first place. So what happened though, I was like, okay, these marketer people are doing whatever. So I need to get marketing. I need to do some marketing. I don't really understand it here. So all we would say is like, we would link to the studies, but we wouldn't make claims. So we hired a company. It's like, well, if this is so good at lowering blood sugar and here are the studies, let's make claims about, and so what happened? They basically like, this is the best supplement for lowering blood sugar. This is the best supplement for lowering cholesterol. I don't know what other claims.
Those were the major ones, I think.
So what happened? I'm in residency, by the way, 2012. I'm in residency, family medicine. I get
well, that means I must be an endocrine fellowship by then when this happened.
Not yet. I don't.
15?
I don't think so. I was 2012.
2012. Yeah. Okay, I was right before I started.
Yeah, right before you started.
I was an internal medicine doctor.
I got a call from a FDA lawyer going like, hey, do you want me to protect you in this case? I was like, what case are you talking about right now? He's like, you didn't get the letter? I'm like, what letter? I got a letter from the FDA that basically said, you're making claims on us. And I was like, so confused. I'm like, what? We're linking to the studies that link about the lowering of blood sugar by 30%. Like, I think there were claims like that. Like, it literally says that in the study. What do you want from me? So I called the FDA and they're like, look, we can't advise you. You got to hire a lawyer if you want advice. I go, trust me, I'm just like a kid here. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, I just don't want kids. I don't want to go to jail, please. Like I don't want to pay $100,000 fine, whatever this is. And they were so nice about it too, because they understood. They could hear that I was just completely naive and ignorant to everything. They're like, look, this is like a slap on the wrist. Like, we're just telling you got to change the website. I'm like, oh, if that's the case, then like, just, all right. So all I did is like literally right away, I changed it to like, all right, I'm not going to make any claims at all. I'm not even going to link to it, because they said, don't even link to any studies, which most people do right now. They still do. Yeah. But they're like, don't even link to any
false claims. Which
I know. But because here's my conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy. I'm pretty sure this happened. We were such a small fish. I think one of our competitors like, look, these idiots don't know what they're doing. Let's just take them out right now. So I'm sure someone whistle blew and got us in trouble.
Big supplement
took us out. So what happened is I just changed it to like, here's literally what it is. It's because people already knew what berberine. We didn't need to over market what it did. People already knew what it did. So all we said is like, we're very factual. We have 97 or whatever percent. It was 97 or 98% pure berberine HCl in each capsule, and just very factual. And then we're fine. We never heard from the FDA. Having said that, the reason we're bringing this up is because there's this guy on Twitter that just keeps attacking me.
He's a physician, but he is very malicious for some reason.
Yeah, personality. Yeah, who knows what's going on with this guy's life? Clearly not a good player, but he keeps bringing it up on Twitter saying like, you are so unethical. I'm like, yeah, I'm so unethical that I literally changed it right away and just And I was just making claims based off of studies, off of my own ignorance, and the FDA just literally dropped the case because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't think it was. I still don't think it was unethical. It's like, look, it's berberine. I don't know.
Right. We didn't make any false claims.
We didn't make any false claims,
and we never would. And that's actually our downfall.
So what happened?
Everyone else does. And then we get.
So what happened? So everybody listening is like, if you're still listening now, you're good, because we're going to get into the TikTok influencers and stuff. But it's really interesting because there became a point where we decided, like, look, let's just sell this company. This is more a headache than it's worth. Let's sell it. Because, like, we don't want to be known as pushing. We don't push supplements. And we couldn't make extra money because we could not, in good faith, tell our patients or anybody else to take berberine over metformin, over Januvia, whatever.
Well, the
whatever
medications we have really good data on.
Yeah. And now we have the GLP-1s that are much more powerful. But, let's say back then, Victoza, whatever. I don't know. So at some point we go, like, let's just sell it. I got a broker, and people are like, this is like a business podcast. I got a broker. We got somebody that wanted to buy the company for like $200,000. We were all set to go. And $200,000 doesn't sound like that much, but at the time it was like, all right, this will pay off our student loans.
It makes me a little bit ill because part of this is my fault because I didn't want to sell
not this one.
Okay.
Not this one. I'll tell you. And so this one was $200,000. Something happened. The deal fell through right at the end. I don't know. He got cold feet. We found another one that was going to do it for like 125 or 150. And I was like, just take the company. Like, please just take this company off the hands. Otherwise it's going to die. This company is going to die because we are not going to promote it anymore. And that was the one they were about to sign, and they wanted to take everything, including the lean latte. And we're like, no.
All I wanted was the trademark.
We just wanted the
such a cool concept, and that now everyone's making billions of dollars on it.
So we said, we're like, because there was something in there like, we get lean latte too, and like, no, like, I don't even know. We should have just sold it. But
I don't know. I'm so stupid.
It's so stupid. So the deal fell through. We didn't promote the company anymore. The company stopped making money. So then nobody was going to buy it anymore because it just literally wasn't making any money. So anyway, that's a good story of how we lost about $120,000 or to $200,000, and in the end ended up losing a lot more because we also didn't get the payoff because we invested our money.
Idiots.
So anyway, if anybody wants to know the story of leaner living, which most people called learner living, there it is. Very frustrating to us. A lot of headaches. I was during med school, trying to do med school while creating a company that you didn't know what you were doing. It was insane.
You learned how to do business.
I did.
Now I'm a.
But it was I use it, like, people talk about you learn from your failures, and I'm telling you right now that it was such a good, it's frustrating to hear those things, but like it was such a good learning experience that I understand now why it failed, and I understand what would go into creating a next new thing. Frustrating though. So why don't we get into like the ethics of social media and promoting drugs? Because I will say I have friends that get offers for, I'm not saying just like a few $100, $1,000. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars to promote pharmaceutical drugs. What are the ethics behind that?
And by the way, supplements
too. But like, let's
so both things.
But like, if you're doing that as a doctor, again, you're taking $25,000 to promote. It's mushrooms. There's like these magic mushroom things that people are trying to sell, and they're I don't know what company it is, but
magic mushrooms.
These like mushroom teas and stuff like that.
That sounds like some illicit drug.
Yeah, illicit drug. It might as well be. But I've heard so many different stories. Like if you're a doctor promoting like, magic mushrooms.
Huberman gets paid a ton of money for selling his greens that don't do anything, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he gets thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for doing that. But like, what are the so the stat article? Did you just go over it? Talked about this.
Well, this is fascinating because I've been kind of on the rails lately about just pharma in general marketing. I am not about big government. I have no political dog in this fight. However, we are one of two countries that allows direct-to-consumer marketing of pharmaceutical drugs, right? So us in New Zealand, for some reason, we obviously have a pharmaceutical cost issue here. We talk so much about these new medications that are also popular on social media, the injectable glucagon-like peptide 1, or the GLP, GIP, tirzepatide.
People know it as Ozempic.
Yeah,
just call it. It's all Ozempic.
And we've had these drugs for almost 20 years, and now suddenly social media and media is making a big deal about them and calling it all Ozempic, which drives me absolutely insane. But they're really expensive, and they're really, really good medications for those who truly need them, and yet and it just blows my mind how many millions and millions of dollars must be spent on all these TV commercials we see all the time. And now my son says, I think I might have mild to moderate Crohn's disease because of all the stupid Crohn's commercials. Well, and it's funny, but it's like, so they're marketing to people so that people can then go, to some degree, maybe inappropriately talk to their physicians about it, because not everyone needs these.
What about is it low T? Remember that whole thing, the testosterone
and that's
thing?
Why, by the way, so all these TRT clinics that have popped up, everyone, all these places are inappropriately selling testosterone drugs to guys.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to convince them they have hypogonadism without an appropriate workup, mind
That's
you.
horrible.
Fired up. And it's because of Big Pharma years ago with the low T, because they came out with a bunch of very good formulations of testosterone therapy for those who really need it, but they tried to get everyone to think they have low T and go talk to their doctors about it. So that's just the baseline issues I have with drug marketing. And I am not anti-Big Pharma.
No, everybody knows we're not.
I don't like inappropriate marketing to people.
Yeah, no. So this is the thing. So you see a lot of the kind of the big pharma conspiracy theorist people are like, how, and this is where we agree with them in that, like, I don't think there should be direct to consumer marketing of these drugs. Like, when the doctor should be appropriately evaluating patients for these and should be aware of them.
Yeah, the doctors need we always need continuing education. That's a whole different topic. Like, I think they should have some funds to educate doctors without undue influence, which is a whole nother controversial issue. But not to millions in dollars that could be going to reduce costs.
I know.
To patients. In my opinion, I don't know the statistics always, but
think about it. Like, right now we have shortages of these GLP-1 drugs, and I'm seeing advertisements from the big pharma manufacturers promoting them, and it's like, you guys don't need to promote these drugs. They are going you don't need to put it.
And then of course we see them on social media. So, and I know I don't know if we need to get into that, but these different companies online that literally say, hey, are you eligible for these medications? Come check us out. I just saw one as I was flipping through the phone talking about sending metformin to your door. Metformin's dirt cheap, and yet now there are companies that are going to get paid by people to get metformin which is indicated for type 2 diabetes.
It's indicated for longevity, according to some longevity.
Oh my God!
Hater podcast.
Do we even need to mention his name? Okay.
No. Who needs not being named?
Oh my God! So now the social media influencers, according to this article you sent me, are getting paid tons of money to promote drugs, medical, pharmaceutical drugs. That's amazing.
What about compounded? What about the, like, oh my God, that's where I can't stand it. Like, I don't know. Like, this is like the meme. Like, you guys are getting paid. My brother and I are like the biggest proponents of these drugs, and we don't get a lick of money from these big pharma companies.
Everyone would be mad.
Everybody would be very mad. We should just.
I don't know why I don't.
I don't know, because we have scruples, I guess.
I know. I have tons of friends who get paid to, do
lots of money.
Talks, and I could go do talks. I'd be proud of doing that for them. But then people say, "Oh, you're getting paid by Big Pharma."
So there's influencers out there getting paid by literally Big Pharma to go direct to consumer. That's just it's taking an extra step to going, all right, this is a commercial, yada yada yada, like, I can, whatever, that's one thing, but now you're getting
not medical experts either,
and you're getting the trust of influencers. And the reason people like influencer marketing is because these people have gained the trust of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions, tens of millions of people, and they're paying them, and these people just so what is the FDA and FTC are thinking about stepping in? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they're out of each of those respective circles. You know what I mean? Like, out of their respective responsibilities. So, like, one is overseeing, medical. One that oversees advertisements for everything,
right?
And then the other one's overseeing medical pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's they're like missing this.
So whose job is this?
It's like, yeah, it's not under either one's jurisdiction, I guess. So like this thing says, while these posts are clearly marked as ads, quote unquote ads, in compliance with the federal guidelines, simply disclosing that something was sponsored is not enough. Because people, there's no oversight really. And
That's so interesting.
So people trust their influencers. The trust bestowed upon influencers can be dangerous, particularly in the context of potential health misinformation and disinformation propagated through specific drug advertisements. I mean, we saw that with COVID and everything too. So many different people saying good, bad, or otherwise, just complete spread of misinformation around the internet.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And now they're getting paid to do it.
Yeah, so then take that another level. So who's going to do anything about these influencers promoting compounded like GLP-1? So you take it another level to where it's like they can't even keep up with the people doing FDA approved medicines, let alone compounded non-FDA approved versions. And these influencers are making, I've seen tens or more thousands of dollars because like they can pay them this much just to promote their stuff. It's actually, I don't know. It's not, to me, it's not ethical.
No,
people don't have enough understanding of these medicines to even give the full benefits, risks and benefits and side effects and all those different things. And then
it's interesting because, speaking of the commercials for these drugs, right? People always say, well, God, I saw that these drugs can cause death. And I say, well, that's one of the ironies about the drug commercials is that they are so well regulated, despite costing millions of dollars, that they have to be very, very literal and legitimate and have all the risk benefits. Yeah, the benefits should outweigh the risks if we're going to give it to somebody, but they have to list all the risks. So here's what it says about those two things. So the Federal Trade Commission oversees the advertising of nearly all products except prescription medications. It frequently updates endorsement guidelines and hosts public events, yada, yada, yada. Now the FDA, which obviously oversees prescription medications, needs to work with the FTC to come up with clear guidelines about what influencers can say and how they can say it about prescription drugs, and not just in widely disseminated posts and videos. So I guess they've collaborated before, on matters such as biosimilar misinformation and stuff like that. But jeez.
My favorite commercial, other than Ozempic, is the Jardiance commercial. You know that one I'm talking about? And they're doing this little dance.
They're all dancing around.
Taking Jardiance for my A1C. I don't know what it is. I love that commercial because it's just, I don't know. It's so ridiculous. But like,
well, they all are.
Because
think about all the the Viagra's and the Cialis for erectile dysfunction. Those are always huge. That's a whole nother, right? They're getting sold online. Everyone's trying to sell that, and they're always in these separate bathtubs. Out in a beautiful wilderness. It's like what? What is happening?
Have you ever done like? Have you ever gone? I mean, we've all visited houses that maybe we're gonna buy, and like they always have this like bathtub. I'm like, that looks like from the commercial, and I will never use that unless it's for a commercial for one of these drugs. I'm like, I'm not going to take a bath in one of these tubs. Anyway, I don't know why I said that, but like it just reminds me of those tubs. And why is it a tub?
Well, yeah, they're always but they're in separate bathtubs too.
Yeah.
For erectile dysfunction medication. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
Anyway.
Not at all.
All right. Okay. So supplements, look, we went through our own thing. We tried to be ethical about it. We decided, we probably like it's not it started to cross the line of like we actually didn't like I'll never sell a supplement again. I don't know. I can't see it. I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
I can't.
So we tried to do it appropriately, legitimately, and lost to the quacks.
Yeah, I think
now
if a company
the quacks.
I'm just trying to think like
not for sour grapes, but because it's the right thing to do.
If a company came to me, like let's say Premier or Fairlife or something,
well,
and
that's
said,
different because those are I still think we should get those companies to sponsor the podcast because we believe in those. We recommend those to patients.
That's what
I feel comfortable with that. And different food companies,
I like
companies,
those,
whatever, lifestyle-based companies, and I think it would be appropriate to be paid by pharma to do educational things, but I just not going to do it for now.
Yeah. So like so if let's say if somebody from Premier is listening to this or Fairlife and like say like, we we'd love to get the name out there a little bit.
Or Mr. Peanut, Planters. I want to be a shill for Mr. Peanut.
What about-
I've said I want to be this.
What about the
all these
pistachio?
years.
They got a lot
Yes,
of money.
and the pistachio people. And what about avocados from Mexico?
Yeah, I would do that too. So, but I mean, honestly, protein powders and like those shakes, like Fairlife Premier, whatever.
Yeah, they're good.
It's pretty much like food, you know.
Yeah,
it's
and we
packaged
recommend
food.
them
It's
to
not like
patients, and so
it's not like
yeah.
snake oil.
Yeah,
So-
we'll maybe get some sponsorships that we believe in that are reasonable that we can talk about on the podcast and not feel bad about it.
I'm thinking about like anything that just doesn't have good evidence, like, and doesn't. And the reason we like the reason with the glycosol, the berberine one, we just were like we just didn't feel we couldn't ethically recommend it.
Go beyond what what the data were.
Well,
what
and
compared
guideline
to real medications.
guideline directed, you know.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Therapy.
Guidelines, the evidence.
berberine
someday
is
maybe
not
it'll be
any-
in the evidence.
Yeah, maybe,
maybe it
but
will be in the guidelines.
that was the reason. It was like we're looking at guidelines, going, I can't, like in good faith, tell you to take this berberine over like a metformin. I just can't. If you want something natural, you don't want any of that. Sure, it's there, but like I couldn't.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks
Our
for listening.
bad.
I mean, we're at about 30 minutes. We've been rambling on, but I think I think you'll get a good sense of like kind of what was going through our brains of like, and hey, we did it, and you know, it's okay to reflect on this type of stuff. And moving forward, it was like, I don't know. If I had to do it again, I probably would, because it's gotten me to where I am right now. But it's if I could go back in time, I'm pretty sure we would be a lot different. We probably would have been able to sell it for a lot more, and actually make the sale.
I'll keep
But
sucking
anyway.
wind.
Keep sucking wind. All right. Thanks for listening. Make sure you share with a friend and family. Give us a review, only if it's good, but if it's bad, then whatever. All right. Bye.